Bit by Bit for our bi-weekly podcast. I'm Jess, here with Janet.
Hey.
And today we're going to be talking about an interesting new update from Bethesda Studios. Of course, the beloved studio that brings you games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I don't even know what his name is. He's Pete Hines, I believe. He's their marketing boss. That's right. He's their marketing boss, and he, in an interview with Tech Syndicate, recently mentioned that there will be a new game that's been previously unannounced coming out this year from Bethesda, which is a bit of a shocker because that's not very normal. That's that. Janet, do you have any guesses for what kind of game it could be?
This year is in 2017 this year?
I believe
That's
so.
That's very weird. I don't know. I have a bad feeling because I know you were mentioning even before we started recording that it's not specified whether it's a new IP or like an extension of one or anything.
He wouldn't budge on it when asked.
I feel like it's going to be something a lot wacker than it sounds in terms of like, I don't think it's really going to be like a whole new thing. I think it'll be like a DLC or like an extension type.
I wondered if it wasn't something kind of like what they have with Fallout Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Where, have you played that before or heard much about it?
But I know about it.
So for those of you who don't know about Fallout Shelter, I hope you at least know about Fallout, or else I'm sad for you. But Fallout Shelter is basically like a mobile game. I think you can actually also play on the Xbox now, but I played it as a mobile game, and you kind of run your own Fallout Shelter, and you can send people out of the vault and go on adventures, and you put people in a room and they have babies and stuff, and you need people to run all the operations and things like that. So I wonder if it's not a game like that, because that kind of game doesn't take the same level of planning necessarily, or like the long-term sort of just game construction that like the original Fallout series games themselves would take. But who's to say? I mean, maybe they've been working on this previously unannounced game for the past 4 years. I don't know, but I feel like they would have announced it at E3 if that was the case.
They probably have been working on it for a while, but I think it's still not substantial. Like, not
right.
And by not substantial, I don't mean like the work that goes into it. I mean more like it's not anything that's super worth writing home about, but it's still like kind of nice. That's probably what it's gonna be. But I'm still very surprised. 2017 is almost over.
Yeah, it is. And they already have games coming out in 2017 that they did announce at E3. Like Dishonored 2, Death of the Outsider is coming out on September 15th. It's very shortly. Actually, depending on when you're listening to it, it's probably already out. And so that's very soon. And then they also have, I think, Evil Within 2 and... Don't talk to me about Evil Within. And Wolfenstein 2 are supposed to come out in October.
Yeah,
so that's a very busy year for Bethesda. I don't know what's up with that. We know it's not a new Elder Scrolls game because they mentioned that Elder Scrolls will be coming back, but not for a while because they're trying to work on other stuff. And that's fair, but it seems like weird for them to come up with it. Maybe it's like all a big ruse. Maybe they're like, yeah, Elder Scrolls isn't coming out for a long time, guys. And they just drop Elder Scrolls 6.
That would be really cool.
That would blow people's minds. But
there's no way.
There's no way it's true. Because why would you lose out on the marketing possibilities by just releasing it at the end? It's not that. Maybe that can transition us into just a general discussion of like how the gaming industry operates as far as like timelines for announcements and releases, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for a large game to not get any time to get like marketing and to get the word out there and for all the trailers and to build the hype and get people's pre-orders, and that's all part of the system. That's all the money-making strategy.
Yeah. Especially
with the holiday season coming up, people would want to know about it ahead of time. So, I don't know.
It's really weird.
I can't think of any possible reason why they're doing it like this, but I am intrigued, so maybe
I guess that's the reason, to like build the curiosity around it. But it's kind of funny that Bethesda would do this too, because we all know everyone hated their E3 conference, which I was fine with.
I thought it was fine.
I liked it. I had a good time.
It was cute. It had the roller coasters.
Everyone hated it. Everyone except for us hated it. Everywhere I looked,
everyone
small
was like,
YouTubers, large YouTubers who on Twitter with thousands to like just dozens of followers, the whole range, everyone hated it. Everyone's like, why was this a presentation? Just tweet that out. It's not even worth presenting. So it's interesting for this to be taking place as well, because I have a feeling it'll also be like kind of like disappointing. Not that I was disappointed by Bethesda's thing, but a lot of people were.
I just feel like it's definitely not going to be something that's like mind blowing But I want it to be. But the reason why it's not is because there's no way they orchestrated Pete Hines just casually mentioning in an interview with Tech Syndicate about, like, they didn't orchestrate this. Mm-hmm. The only reason it would be a big game is if they orchestrated this. So, I don't know.
But as far as, like, announcements in general, I guess for me, I from a consumer standpoint, I like having my announcements be within the year or year and a half of the game's release date. Mm-hmm. And obviously, ideally, I don't want delays. So, but no one really wants delays, so that's not really worth even mentioning, but it's something that is on my mind whenever things get release dates. So, yeah, I really like how Nintendo overall does their release dates, with the exception of, like, I think Metroid Prime 4 is pretty funny, or the new Metroid Prime game, I think it would be.
Yeah, they didn't really like...
Because they're just like, it exists, but for something like that, they really just need to say it exists, because everyone was like, Metroid.
If they didn't mention it at E3, all everyone would have talked about is, like, it was great, except for they didn't mention Metroid. Where's Metroid? So they had to put it in this, people would like,
but they're still missing Animal Crossing. Like, that's the new, we have to, like, find a new thing to rally against now, as Nintendo fans. But that was cool, just to be like, hey, this does exist. Yay. That I didn't mind. But
they even do that with some games, like I mentioned with Elder Scrolls. And I guess part of that is just, like, because people are, like, they read into every word developers say. They're like, was that, like a veiled reference to Elder Scrolls 6? Mm-hmm. No! They're not even talking about that. They're not even talking about video games. They're talking about their kids eating dinner and they're cute. You know, like, it's the developer on Twitter, and they're, like, reading into it. They're like, well, it's maybe a reference to the, you know, the 1997 release of... No, it's not, okay? Calm down. And so I think eventually developers are like, hey, listen, we're working on it. Leave us alone. You know, that's kind of what they have to do. But in general, I like it. I don't mind delays, actually, just because I kind of assume... I guess when I get a release date, I age it immediately. They're like, okay, it's coming out. It's spring of 2017. So I'm like, you mean, like, holiday season 2017.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's
I don't
what
age
I do.
it at all. I'm like, that's what's coming out. The only time I age it is when I feel like it's just not realistic. Like, if you announce something, especially with some of these indie games that were, like, ports and stuff, like, if you're like, oh, it'll be around, like, this window, but, like, kind of announcements that are happening now, if they say 2017, I don't believe them, because unless it's, like, something smaller or maybe a port that has been worked on for a while.
Like,
but that's the thing. They're like, oh, 2017. I'm like, I don't think that's true because it's just so close to being done. So that's the only time I age stuff for release dates. But yeah, Sony gets a lot of flack for that with their release dates because they're always talking about stuff that's like 4 years away.
Like, and get hyped, and I'm like, I'm gonna be like in a completely different place in my life by then. Yeah. I can't get hyped about anything 4 years from now.
No one seems to mind that they do that. Like, everyone acknowledges that they do, but no one really like gets at them about that. But it kind of does bother me. It's like it's part of Sony's whole illusion to seem like there's always stuff coming out when there's actually nothing there. You actually have almost as little as everyone else.
Right.
So that's just like my beef with that. That's why like Nintendo's, I feel like they're pretty much accurate for the most part. Xbox, I can't really comment because there's not a whole lot of exclusives, so there's not a whole lot to even like discuss in terms of when things are coming out because it's the same time as everyone else.
I would say though, to your point about like wanting to know something like within a year and a half of when it's coming out and like not liking delays, I think people should try to wait. Game developers should try to wait until closer to the deadline or like when they're pretty sure they're going to be able to do it within reason because of course, once again, like being able to promote something sometimes increases funding, which helps you finish making the game and those types of things, and I get that. What I found really interesting is like cases like Stardew Valley where and I don't know, I guess all the details on Stardew Valley, but Stardew Valley was finished before, like they made the game. The game was made before they like announced it. The game was done. It was made. It was created. Yeah. You know? And that's really interesting because then you're not like with some of these other indie titles where they're like, I'm working on this cool game and you get all behind it and your heart's in it and you're like, this is a beautiful game. And then, you know, they're like a 15-year-old who's trying to write a novel and they have all these great ideas and they just never finish it. And then the rest of the world's like, what happened? You can't tease me with this amazing content and then just never make this. And so I think that there's a lot of emotional insecurity in the gaming community about game releases.
Yeah, I think really what's been bothering me way more than game releases lately because, you know, there aren't like, I mean, there are games coming out all the time, but a lot a lot of times there aren't like big kind of blockbuster hit AAA titles aren't always coming out all the time. Like, those are less frequent, right?
Yeah.
Like, on a technical level, they are as frequent, but in terms of, like, hype and stuff, like, what are the big releases of, like, the fall, for instance? We got Wolfenstein, we got Mario Odyssey, we got, we got the sports sims. A couple of the sports sims are coming out. Madden already came out, I believe. 2K's dropping, FIFA's dropping. A couple other handful of titles that are, like, the ones that kind of everyone's aware of and in on. Those are, like, pretty much so set that, you know, delays are pretty infrequent. They kind of know that timeline ahead of time. What's been really bothering me lately is ports, like porting things over to other consoles, especially as a Switch owner. Because, like, when are we getting Yooka-Laylee? What happened to that? That game came out literally, like, 5 months ago. I don't even know if I want it anymore. Like, what happened? I think I hate announcements without windows more than anything, I think. With the exception of the Metroid thing. Because, especially when it comes to ports, like, this is coming to this thing. When? Hey, when's that? Does anyone know when that's showing up? Has anyone talked about it? Hello? And, I mean, I'm just, like, a small person. I don't have any way to reach, like, these big companies. But they don't... Right. And especially something as small as ports, they're not necessarily going to be, like, maybe having that as their main focus. But it's like, you said that this would come to this console. What's happening? And then it's also frustrating because, like, I'm starting to understand / I'm trying to be more empathetic towards the port thing because I know I don't understand what goes into porting a game. I did listen to a recent NBC podcast with the guy who made Rocket League, and he was kind of talking about, like, why porting is hard and why it's, like, not, you know, it's not like you just drag and drop the file, like, it's a whole thing.
Right.
And I know that on a technical level, but in my heart, I really don't know that, and I can't accept it, because I'm like, the game is done. Where's my game? How hard is it to get it, especially when it's everywhere else? It's like on everything else, except for Switch. Is there something weird about the Switch that are people going to have trouble porting stuff all the time? It's literally just driving me crazy.
Well, the Switch is really different.
It is different, and it's new, but, like,
plus
what's
it has
wrong
different
with it?
features.
Yeah, but, like, what's the, like, is this, it's just, are we
need
just
to build
doomed?
in capabilities that the original game maybe didn't accommodate for.
I don't know if that's true. I mean,
sometimes I feel like when
you know,
stuff
it's
like
still a controller. It just says the buttons are all the same letters.
Yeah,
like it has like some gyro control features, but you don't have to use them. Like the PS4 controller has gyro control, but devs aren't necessarily like
they shouldn't.
Like I'm sure there are weird Switch spec stuff, and I get with this first year I can kind of get it a little bit more because like I don't know what the dev kit for the Switch looks like and how that's different than other dev kits or what. If that's even, like, the thing that you need to be thinking of. I don't know, because I don't make games like that. But it's just, like... It's like, you'll have this thing. When? Hello? And it's just, like, I hate it. So, yeah. So, there's that element, too. I think that's what's been bothering me.
You know what's funny is that I used to be really, like... I think it's because I have, like, a wider spectrum of games I play now. But back in the day, when I only liked 3 games, whenever one of the games I wanted was announced, I was like... It's 2 years. I can't wait 2 years. And then you like sit there the whole time and you like, you know, you're always looking for the new trailer and whatever and like updating your expectations and like doing Google searches occasionally when you realize that you don't have this game that you want, even though it's 2 years away. And now that I like play more games and like also because like I feel like life moves more quickly because I'm older or something. Sometimes like something will come out, I'll be like, what? It came out 2 weeks ago? How'd I miss that? You know, and
sometimes delays are a relief. Like the Red Dead delay, good. Yeah. I don't want that coming out now. I got other games to play.
I've got other things going on. Yeah.
And a lot of industry people feel that way too. They're like, honestly, well, plus everyone knows Red Dead's going to be good. So everyone's like, that's fine. We kind of, especially they were like shooting for fall, I think, or something really early. And we're like, that doesn't sound realistic. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to wait. And we're like, that's fine because we have like 80 other good games to play. We can just wait for Red Dead. So
I think also part of me is a little jaded because now that I've started like being able to get games on release, because even when I used to like watch games like a crazy person when I was in middle school and high school, a lot of times I couldn't get the game when it came out. Now I can usually, not always, but usually, and I feel a little jaded because I think like the hype is so much more on release day, and then I feel so much more disappointed. You know, like when you can go to a game store and you just pick up a game and you don't have a lot of expectations for it, or maybe you do, but no one else knows your expectations. You know, you can just pretend you don't have high expectations for this game, and you can go home and you can sit down and just it's casual. But you can't do that on a release day game. It's like you have to enjoy this because you've been waiting for so long for it to come out. You put in that pre-order, it came in the mail, or you picked it up. You've been thinking about it for weeks, and it's kind of hard to enjoy the game. So in some ways, I just don't want to know when games are coming out. Maybe everyone should just do what apparently Bethesda is doing for 2017 and just be like, yeah, we got a game coming out, just like a month or so, and just, that would be great.
No, that'd be awesome.
I'd love it.
I need time to... Well, I've gotten into the habit now of trying to save for games. My main goal when it comes to money in games is to have just like a little savings chunk of like, this is the money I would spend on a game if I wanted to buy one.
Right, and just have it there.
Where there wouldn't be... But the problem with that, we're trying to build that so far, is there are always games I want, so that never really ends up happening. But I like knowing that, because then I can save up for it slowly. You can do the whole like, there's nothing like more satisfying than getting a game on release date and not having to pay any money that day.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's like, sweet, I just picked it up. I already paid for it. Past me, I already did this. I've been working on this for months. So I have like a FIFA fund going right now. I have an Odyssey fund, but it's empty. So it's like I'm just slowly. So not only am I trying to build the money a little bit. Not that like 60 is like so crazy, but it can get crazy if you have like 2 or 3 games coming out at the same time, especially because we have seasons of games. It's kind of like Wolfenstein's coming out the same day as Mario Odyssey, and I just know I'm going to wait on that one because of Odyssey. But but even that, it's like, oh, that's then like the SNES Mini comes out the same day as FIFA, so it's like it's just all the money just leaving all the time. But so yeah, I like saving up for it, and then I also like I like being able to, depending on the game, prep my gaming palette / routine. So like for Odyssey, I'm like, I need to get any game I want to play and beat, you gotta do before Odyssey comes out. Like my old goal was like to beat Breath of the Wild before Odyssey came out. There's no way I'm gonna do it. I haven't picked it up in a long time, so I'd have to pick it up again. But I'm just like, I need to get all the games out of the way, because then it's Odyssey time. Not that I'm going to take that long to beat that game, I don't think. It's probably going to be like, 30 hours max.
Right. But you're probably going to want to just go, and not be distracted by anything else.
I want to like prep for that. So that's something nice I like about when I know release dates. And sometimes you know them and they still like, or it gets announced too close and you're like, it kind of slips you by. Like the Metroid Samus Returns. Like, I was like, I'm so excited for this. I'm going to get this on my 3DS. It's going to be great. I didn't buy it. I just like let it go by. I don't know when I'm going to buy it. I don't know if I'm even going to buy it anymore. I don't know why this happened. I like Metroid. But if it was on the Switch, I probably would have bought it, which I know is really bad.
It is really bad.
But like, I'll buy it eventually, I guess, for the culture. But it's just like, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, when's that coming out? Oh, it already came. It's kind of like what you just mentioned, where it already came out, and then
Because that's the thing, is you miss one, then the next one's coming up 2 weeks from now, and so like I feel like there's not a lot of room for like picking up games that just came out a couple months ago. I feel so behind on my backlog, but that is a topic for a completely different video.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe let us know what you guys think about the timelines between when a game's announced and when it's released. I know there's a lot of angst out there, and I would really, really enjoy reading about it from your guys' point of view.
Yes.
So
that port situation. What's
send
up?
us your angst.
All right.
Also, if you have an idea of what this Bethesda game is, I'm really curious. I don't really have any good guesses. So leave that in the comments.
Yeah. You got a dev kit for the Nintendo Switch. Tell me why it takes so long to port it over if the game already exists.
We have a lot of questions, guys.
All right. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit thumbs up and subscribe. That's youtube.com/bitbybit. If you're listening to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or Podomatic, be sure to leave us a rating.
And of course, you can always talk to us on social media. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest at BitByBitGaming, and we are on Facebook at BitByBitGamers.
And you can check us out on our official website, bitbybitgamers.com, for the occasional blog post and exclusive content.
Thanks for tuning in.